Hello everyone, welcome back in the part 2 of the video lecture. In the part 1, we have already discussed about the structure of the ferrocene. So let's discuss bonding in the ferrocene in part 2. So let's start, and I am Dr. Kuldeep. The bonding part, let's discuss about the bonding part. So first of all, we have to construct the molecular orbital for the ligand. Here the ligand is cyclopentadienyl anion C5H5 minus. Just recall the molecular orbital of benzene. Benzene has 6 pi electrons, and this molecule cyclopentadienyl anion also has 6 pi electron, but there is a difference. Benzene has 6 carbon atoms, even number of carbon atoms, and here the carbon atoms are only 5. So the construction of molecular orbital is little bit different from the benzene. In benzene, there are 6 molecular orbital, 3 are bonding, which containing the 6 electron, and the 3 are anti-bonding, which are empty. But here we have only 5 molecular orbitals. Let's draw the molecular orbital from lowest energy to the highest energy. This is cyclopentadiene. So first draw the orbital on each of the carbon atom. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So in this orbital, if you observe carefully, then you will find that the same shaded area is present above the ring in all the lobes, and the non-shaded area is present below the ring in each orbital. It means that the sign of the wave function is not changing from going from suppose this one to this one. So there is no nodal plane in this MO. So first MO is constructed by keeping the sign of the wave function same for all the 5 orbitals. This is the first MO. You can either take the shaded lobe above, or you can draw the shaded lobe below. It is up to you. But one thing, keep in mind that either you are keeping the shaded area above or the non-shaded area above, keep them all in the same side. So this is molecular orbital number 1 of the lowest energy, and there is no nodal plane in this orbital. Let's draw the next orbital of higher energy. Yes. The next orbital can be drawn in 2 ways. So it is doubly degenerate. Actually, we can draw a single nodal plane in 2 ways. First way is draw the plane from any one of the carbon atom. There are 5 carbon atoms. You can choose any one of the 5 carbon atom and the bond opposite to it and pass a nodal plane. Secondly, this can be passed through the 2 bonds like this. You can pass from these 2 bonds, this one or this one, this one or this one, this one or this one, this one or this one. So you can pass from any 2 bonds like this. Now draw the orbitals. Yes, these 2 orbitals are drawn with the shaded area on the above and the non-shaded area below the ring, and these 2 orbitals with shaded area below and non-shaded area above. So you can find that these orbitals have lobes, sign of lobe, or the shaded area opposite to these 2 orbitals, because there is a nodal plane. Here no need to draw the orbital, because this carbon is the nodal plane is passing through this carbon atom, so there is no need to draw the orbital. So these 2 orbitals have lobe opposite to these two orbitals, because there is a nodal plane in between these two. These two have same because there is no nodal plane. These two have same because there is no nodal plane. Nodal plane is here, so these orbitals have a lobe opposite to these two orbitals. Here we can draw like this. These two orbitals here, either the shaded area above or the below, doesn't matter, and these two orbitals have the shaded area opposite to these. So this is second. So these two orbitals are the degenerate orbital having one nodal plane each. Then going to the higher molecular orbital, these also can be drawn in the two ways. So there is zero nodal plane, one nodal plane. Here we can draw the two nodal plane. In first, it is very simple. Just draw line like this here and just draw this line like here. This is the one way to draw the two nodal plane in the CP ring. Other way is like this. So here we consider a carbon atom. Here we are not considering carbon atom. We are passing the nodal plane just through the bond. Let's first draw in the orbitals, then I will explain. Yes. So there is a nodal plane between these two. So there is opposite sign. The shaded area is diagonal. Here is nodal plane, so shaded area is again diagonal. Then nodal plane, then shaded area is again diagonal. Okay. So there is nodal plane here. So these have opposite lobe. Again nodal plane, opposite lobe. There is no nodal plane. So these have the shaded area on the same side and non-shaded area on the same side. Then again nodal plane. So the shaded area is above the ring, there is below the ring. Again nodal plane. So shaded area is below and shaded area is above. So how in this way, how we can draw the molecular orbital in increasing order of the energy. You can put sign of plus or minus if you want. If you don't want to draw the shaded and non-shaded area, you can draw plus and minus sign. It's up to you. You can remove the plus minus sign if you are just want to do just want to going with the shaded and non-shaded area. You can remove them. Okay. Then let's fill the electron. So C5H5 minus cyclopentadienyl ion in the neutral form. In the neutral form, cyclopentadiene 5 electron donor. When it is in anionic form, that is cyclopentadienyl anion, when it is aromatic, it is 6 electron donor. Okay. So we have to fill the 6 electron in increasing order of the energy. 2 electrons are here. There are 2 orbitals, so we can occupy maximum 4 electrons. The 4 electrons are there, and these 2 orbitals remain empty. This is known as A1. A stands for singly degenerate system, and 1 stands for symmetry. It comes from group theory. 1 means the representation is symmetric with respect to the C2 axis perpendicular to the principal axis. If there is no C2 axis, then we have to choose the vertical mirror of symmetry, vertical plane of symmetry. So vertical plane of symmetry or the C2 axis. If it is symmetric means there is no change on the sign of the lobe after the operation, then it is symmetric. If there is change, then it is antisymmetric. Then even E stands for double degenerate. There are 2, and 1 again stands for the symmetric with respect to the C2 axis or with respect to the plane. Then these are called E2. E mean double degenerate. 2 mean these are antisymmetric with respect either with respect to the C2 axis, or if there is no C2 axis, then with respect to the mirror plane. So when we considering the 2 ring together, as we know, the ferrocene has 2 C5H5 minus ring, and these molecular orbitals are for the 1 Similarly, we can draw the 5 more molecular orbital for the next CP ring. So when these two combine and we assume the d5d geometry, d5d means the two rings are in the staggered form, then 10 pi orbital can be represented by the notation 1 by A1G and A2U. Okay, so there is one orbital and other orbital of the next CP ring. So this is a representation, but we can change the orientation of one ring with respect to the other, and we can draw the other orbital. So A1G and A2U. There is one more term G and U is coming. G stand for G-red, which means even in German language, and U stand for ungeared, which means odd. So if there is a change in the sign of wave function through the inversion center, then there is U, ungeared. If there is no change in the sign with respect to the inversion center, then it is G. For example, if you consider the p orbital, any of the p orbital, px, py or pz, in p orbital there are two lobes and the opposite lobe have the opposite sign, plus and minus. If you invert through the inversion center, then you will find that the positive sign is on the negative and negative is on the positive. So there is a change in the wave function. So it is U. But if you consider a d orbitals for dxy, dyz, dzx or any of the d orbital, then you can see if you invert through the inversion center, then there is no change into the sign of the wave function. So d orbital are G in nature. S orbital is always G because there is spherical symmetrical. It is spherically symmetrical, so it is plus. So S and D are G-red and P is ungeared. Similarly, if we combine the E1, then we will get E1G and E1U. 1G stand for G-red, even symmetry, and U stand for ungeared. And if we combine the E2, we get E2G and E2U. Okay, so we are combining 5 orbital of one with 5 orbital of other, so we are getting total 10 orbital. So it should be, the count should be 10. So A and B are single degenerate, E are doubly degenerate, and T, sometimes also written as F, are the triply degenerate. So 1 plus 1, 2, and 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So there are total 10 pi molecular orbitals of the 2C5H5 minus rings. So how there is a formation of A1G and A2U, E1G and E1U, E2G and E2U. I am just illustrating this point by considering only the first combination A1G and A2U, how A1G is formed, how A2U is formed. And when these orbitals combined with the suitable sign, they are known as the SALC, SALC, symmetry adapted linear combination. So this is A1 with all the lobes, all the same sign lobe on the one side of the ring. Here again the same side ring, the same lobe on the same type of lobe, shaded or unshaded on the either side of the ring. Here all the shaded lobes are all above the ring, here it is below the ring. So this is A1. This is S orbital. These are ligand orbital and these are the metal orbitals. The symmetry of the ligand orbital, if you see here, this is one ring and this is one ring. So there are two rings, two flat rings. One has shaded area above, one has shaded area below. So the shaded area is in between the two rings. So now we look for an orbital which has matching symmetry with this SALC. So the S orbital, as we know, is spherical symmetrical. It has shaded area or the plus sign only. So the symmetry of S orbital is matching with these orbital. So these orbital can interact with S orbital or they can interact with the dz square because dz square also has a matching symmetry with this one. There is shaded area above, there is a shaded area below. So it has shaded area above, shaded area below. So sign of wave function is matching. So these orbital, the two orbital can interact with the this ligand orbital, and this combination is known as A1G. Similarly, A2U can be formed when we take one orbital same like this or invert the other one. Then what will happen? There is shaded area in this region and there is non-shaded area there. So below this ring there is shaded area and above this ring there is non-shaded area. So we need one orbital which have matching symmetry or matching sign of wave function with this orbital, and this is PZ. Okay, so there is shaded, there is non-shaded, there is non-shaded, and this combination is known as A2U. U means this is anti-symmetric with respect to the inversion center, and this is symmetric with respect to the inversion center. So it is one of the combination which is illustrated by taking the example. Similarly, E1G and E1U and E2G and E2U. And Salk as already explained, symmetry adapted linear combination. First, the suitable orbital of the two CP ring combine with each other, form a new orbital. So ligand L, here is the CP, the A1, this one A1. These donate electron to the metal either S, PZ or DZ square, anyone which has a matching symmetry or energy. There is formation of the sigma bond. So electron will flow from these orbital to these orbital and formation of sigma bond takes place. Second, there is flow of electron from the ligand E1 orbital to the metal DXZ, DYZ, PX or PY, because the symmetry of the metal DXZ, DYZ or PX, PY is not matching with these orbital, it is matching with the E1 orbital which have one nodal plane. So there is a formation of the pi bond, and these two bonds are collectively called the donor bond. Donor means there is a transfer of electron density from ligand to the metal orbitals. There is other component when there is no electron into the ligand orbital, and then there is flow of electron, there is transfer of electron from the metal dxy and dx square minus y square orbital to the empty ligand orbital, and this bond is known as a delta bond, and this component is known as acceptor bond or back bonding, because the electron are going back from metal to the ligand. So this type of bonding is known as back bonding or acceptor bond. Then let's construct the scheme of molecular orbital in the ferrocene molecule. So up to now we have the ligand orbitals and we have the metal orbitals. Now put the ligand orbital in the left hand side and metal orbital on the right hand side, and in between we get the molecular orbital for the ferrocene. So let's start with the orbital of the ligand. First with lowest energy and then with increasing energy. So in the ligand we have A1G, A2U, E1G, E1U, E2G and E2U. These are the increasing order of energy. Let first draw them. The A1G and A2U, then E1G and E2U, sorry, E1G and E1U. A is singly degenerate and E is doubly degenerate. So E2G and E2U. These are the molecular orbitals of two cyclopentadienyl ring in the stagger form. Now draw the orbital for the metal. These are 5 because the d orbital are 5 in number, d, and these d orbital under the ligand field of CP ring, 2 CP ring, changes from 3D XY YZ ZX to A1G, E1G and E2G. A is singly degenerate, E is doubly degenerate. 1 plus 2, 3 plus 2, 5. So their total is 5. Then there is 4s, it is changed to A1G. and this 4p, it changes to A2U and E1U. As I already told, the p orbital has U symmetry and the s and the orbital has the G symmetry. So if you look at the number of orbitals, there are how many total orbitals? 3 plus 1, 4 plus 1, 5, 9. And how many are there? There are 10. Now match the symmetry. Then you will find that the E2U orbital has no symmetry match in the corresponding metal orbital. So E2U remain non-bonding. So it is remain non-bonding. Now we are left 9 orbital here and 9 with here. So let's start with A1G. Okay, from here. So A1G is here, A1G is here, and A1G is here. So this A1G will interact with this A1G. So there are two orbitals interact, and there is formation of two new orbitals. One have energies below the existing orbital, and it is known as the bonding, and one has above the this level, it is known as anti-bonding. So this is bonding A1G, and this is A star 1G anti-bonding. Then come to A2U, A2U. Here it is A2U, and here it is A2U. They interact, and there are formation of two molecular orbitals, one with lower energy, which is stabilized, one is with higher energy, which is destabilized. So there is A2U and A star 2U. Okay. Then come to E1G. Yes. E1G and E1G. There is only one E1G here, only one E1G here. They will interact. There is formation of strongly bonding E1G orbital and strongly anti-bonding E star 1G. And I will explain the meaning of bilateron. So XZ and YZ, this symmetry. Then E1U. There is E1U and there is E1U. They interact with each other, and there is formation of two orbitals, one with lower energy bonding, one the higher energy anti-bonding. So this is E1U star and this is E1U. This is E1U. Okay, and this is E1U star. Then I left the A1G earlier because this A1G, which is mainly dz square, is nearly non-bonding, and it form a sigma bond. It forms the pi bond. So I put a dash to distinguish it from this A1G. So this is A-1G. So the d orbital, also the dz orbital, the A1G orbital, which is mainly the dz square, remain the non-bonding. Then come to the E1U part, which is only left. Oh, we have done with the yes, E1U. Also E2G. It is E2G. E2G. Here E2G. So there is formation of E2G star and E2G bonding and the anti-bonding. This E2G is XY or X square minus Y square. So the A1G, which is mainly dz square, E2G, which is mainly xy or x square minus y square, and E1G is xz or yz. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. These are the 5 d orbitals. The z square has symmetry A1G, xy and x square and x square y square has symmetry E2G, and xy and xz has symmetry E1G. So this is the molecular orbital diagram for the ferrocene from increasing order of the energy. So now let's fill the electron. There are how many total electrons in the ferrocene? Iron is 2 plus, iron 0 is 3d, 6 4s2 means it has 8 electrons. So iron 2 plus left with 6 electrons. So 6 electrons from iron 2 plus. 1 Cp has 6 electrons, so there are 2 Cp. So 6 plus 6, 12, 12 plus 6, 18. So there are total 18 electrons we have to fill in the increasing order of the atomic orbital. So let's start filling. 4, 4, 8, 4, 12, 4, 16, and 2, 18. So 18 orbitals are filled here. So the A1G orbital, the dz square, so the 3 d orbital, dz square, dxy, and dxy minus square, these are non-bonding or nearly non-bonding. But these orbital E2G are stabilized by interacting with the pi star orbital of the suitable symmetry of the ligand. So these are non-bonding, but they are stabilized by interaction with the pi star orbital of the ligand Cp. So here the main interaction, the principal interaction is E1G and E1G star. E1G is strongly bonding and E1G star is strongly anti-bonding. So if we show the enlarged version of this orbital, how this bonding is take place, because this is the principal bonding. This is the chief bonding here. E1G and E1G star, strongly bonding E1G and strongly bonding E1G star. This is the principal type of bonding in this molecular orbital diagram. If we enlarge this, then there is E orbital. This one has one nodal plane. Where is nodal plane? Nodal plane is here. Okay, and the other orbital. Now we need a d orbital which has matching symmetry, and this symmetry is matching well with the dxz orbital. How? If you look this, there is shaded area below and shaded area above. Diagonally there is shaded area, so this is shaded area. Here shaded area below, non-shaded area below and non-shaded area above. So the symmetry of this lobe is matching with this. So symmetry match is with dxz orbital, and this is E1G. Similarly, there is E1G star which is antibonding. So this is D5D. In D5D symmetry, so there are 3 bonding type. Okay. I have drawn a box to emphasize on this part. So these are 2 ligand orbital here. These are metal orbital, and these orbital are will be ferrocene. So this is the area of interest in this molecular diagram. These orbital form the sigma bond, these form the pi bond, and these form the delta bond. So main area of interest is coming from the d orbitals. These E2G orbital are 2 orbital are from xy and x square y minus y square. This A-1 is from dz square, and this E1G star is from xz and the yz. Thanks for watching the video.